understand the purpose of professional sports?
Nope. There you go.
It's a psychological anesthesia to lull you into a state of asleepness so that you do not feel the pain of them extracting all of the beauty from your future. Why it exists. I'm not saying it's wrong.
That's what it is. Yes, sir.
Please log on to Wowie.com now so your Super Tractor can automatically track your progress.
Like a lame man's legs which hang useless is a proverb in the mouth of fools.
Everybody, I'm Tony. Welcome to phase
Like one who binds the stone in the sling is one who gives honor to a fool.
Don't overdo it.
Like a thorn that goes up into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like an archer who wounds everyone is one who hires a passing fool or drunkard. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. Do you see a man who is wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. The sluggard says, "There is a lion in the road. There is a lion in the streets."
Left side, left ear.
As a door turns on its hinges, so does a sluggard on his bed.
You don't want to go
The
back.
sluggard buries his hand in the dish.
Go to the right
It
side,
wears him out to bring it back to his mouth.
and you're always breathing.
The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly.
Left ear, left shoulder, face.
Whoever meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a passing dog by the ears.
On the right side.
Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, "I am only joking."
Back down to the front.
For lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, quarreling ceases. As charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome man for kindling strife.
And let's switch off
The words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels that go down into the inner parts of the body.
back the shoulder right
Like the glaze covering an earthen vessel are fervent lips with an evil heart.
grab the right
Whoever hates disguises himself with his lips and harbors deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred be covered with deception, his wickedness will be exposed in the assembly.
hand behind.
Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and a stone will come back on him who starts it rolling. A lying tongue hates its victims, and a flattering mouth works ruin.
Clasp your fingers and reach up tall. Good. Turn that
Chapter
right foot out,
27.
Go down. Work that
Do
right.
not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring.
That thumb.
Let another praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, and not your own lips.
And up.
A stone is heavy, and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Wrath is cruel, anger is overwhelming, but who can stand before jealousy?
And 3
Better
kisses.
is open
Here we go.
rebuke
There's one.
than
Pull
hidden
wide
love.
across the chest. That's
Faithful
one.
are the wounds of a friend,
Again.
profuse are the kisses of an enemy.
Good. Here's number 2.
One who is full loathes honey,
And number
but to one who is hungry, everything bitter is sweet.
Pull wide across the
Like a
chest.
bird that
Now
strays from
slowly
its nest is a man who strays from his home.
Open up the leg
Oil
with
and
the arm.
perfume make the heart glad, and the sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel.
Fold the arms, relax
Do not
the
forsake your friend and your father's friend,
knife.
and do not go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor who is near than a brother who is far away.
Hands on the floor. Take a deep breath.
Be wise, my son, and make my heart glad, that I may answer him who reproaches me.
Imagine pulling your head
The
down
prudent
your
sees danger and hides himself,
You can engage
but the
legs.
simple go on and suffer for it.
That's fine. If you have to bend them, it's no big deal.
Take a man's garment when he has put up security for a stranger, and hold it in pledge when he puts up security for an adulteress.
Hands looking good.
Whoever blesses his neighbor with a loud voice, rising early in the morning,
Exhale,
will be
lower the
counted
chest,
as cursing.
Bending the right knee. Turn the right foot out a little bit. The
A
left leg
continual
straight.
dripping on a rainy day and a quarrelsome wife are alike.
Keep that heel down.
To restrain her is to restrain the wind, or to grasp oil in one's right hand.
Drop it down some more.
Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another.
Same thing on the left side.
Whoever tends a fig tree will eat its fruit, and he who guards his master will be honored.
There,
As in water face reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man.
Another run. Good.
Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and never satisfied are the eyes of man.
That's good.
The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold,
Now, if you can't stroke
and a
the right
man
leg,
is tested by his
you go
praise.
like that, that's fine. Do what you can. Get that toe up.
Crush a fool in a mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain,
You're going
yet
down.
his folly will not depart from him.
Okay, doing.
Know well the condition of your flocks, and give attention to your herds,
Number 2.
for riches do not last forever.
Here we go.
And does a crown endure to all generations?
And up. Take a deep breath to center.
When the grass is gone and the new growth appears and the vegetation of the mountains is gathered, the lambs will provide your clothing and the goats the price of a field. There will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and maintenance for your girls.
Here we go. Up.
Chapter 28. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. When a land transgresses, it has many rulers. But with a man of understanding and knowledge, its stability will long continue.
Bend your knees here. That's okay.
A poor man who oppresses the poor is a beating rain that leaves no food.
Really important. Like the entire
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but those who keep the law strive against them.
other side.
Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand it completely.
Man, do I feel that. You guys feel that?
Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity
All right.
than a rich man who is crooked in his ways.
On your knees and roll up.
The one who keeps the law is a son with understanding, but a companion of gluttons shames his father. Whoever multiplies his wealth by interest and profit gathers it for him who is generous to the poor.
Ready to go?
If one turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer is an abomination.
Here's the pace. Down. Hold.
Whoever misleads the upright into an evil way will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will have a goodly inheritance. A rich man is wise in his own eyes, but a poor man who has understanding will find him out. When the righteous triumph, there is great glory, but when the wicked rise, people hide themselves.
Okay, let's go to some heavy pants.
Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy.
One foot's in front of the other.
Blessed is the one who fears the Lord always, but whoever hardens his heart will fall into calamity.
Heavy pants. Pull your pants.
Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people.
Good straight arm.
A ruler who lacks understanding is a cruel oppressor, but he who hates unjust gain will prolong his days.
Look at that.
If one is burdened with the blood of another, he will be a fugitive until death. Let no one help him.
Showing good. Using your pants.
Whoever walks in integrity will be delivered,
Nice.
but he who is crooked in his ways will suddenly fall.
Excellent form, you guys. I want to hear that.
Whoever works his land will have plenty of bread,
Nice. There you go.
but he who follows worthless pursuits will have plenty of
Almost there.
poverty.
Do some military press next.
A faithful man will abound with blessings, but whoever hastens to be rich will not go unpunished.
Fans. You guys all
To
set
show
up?
partiality is not good,
One foot's in front
but
of
for
the
a
other
piece
again.
of bread a man will do wrong.
Hands are facing forward. Reach up.
A stingy
Nice.
man hastens after wealth and does not know that poverty will come upon him.
Chest is up. Eyes are
Whoever
forward.
rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue.
You need to lighten things up. Let's go. Check these
Whoever robs his father or his mother and says, "That is no transgression," is a companion to a man who destroys.
Really, really, really good.
A greedy man stirs up strife, but the one who trusts in the Lord will be enriched.
Really, really tough.
Whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool,
Bend those
but he
knees a
who
little.
walks in wisdom will be delivered.
Really good. Make sure you
Whoever
breathe.
gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse.
Here we go.
When the wicked rise, people hide themselves, but when they perish, the righteous increase.
One foot's in front of the other. Chest up tall. Bring them right up. Right.
Chapter 29.
Stand your bicep curl. Just like
He who is often reproved yet stiffens his neck will suddenly be broken beyond healing.
check on the guys.
When the righteous increase, the people rejoice,
Bend those knees just a
but
touch.
when the wicked rule, the people groan.
Get that chest up.
He who loves wisdom makes his father glad, but a companion of prostitutes squanders his wealth.
Helps your back. If your legs
By
are locked
justice a
straight,
king builds up the land, but he who exacts gifts tears it down.
boom.
A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his
Just
feet.
like that.
An evil man is ensnared in his transgression, but a righteous man sings and rejoices.
Necessary, guys, set up
A righteous man knows the rights of the poor.
Let's work in the
A
tricep.
wicked man does not understand such knowledge.
Same thing with the feet. Left hand's on the hip,
Scoffers
right
set a
hand.
city aflame, but the wise turn away wrath.
Raise it up.
If a wise man has an argument with a fool, the fool only rages and laughs, and there is no quiet.
Boom. You also want to drop that arm. a little
Bloodthirsty
below
men
parallel.
hate one who is blameless and seek the life of the upright.
And straighten it up.
A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back.
Looking good. Nice and straight.
If a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will be wicked.
Sean, you're looking good. Now, you
The
feel
poor
it?
man and the oppressor meet together. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both.
15 reps here. And we switch sides.
If a king faithfully judges the poor, his throne will be established forever. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother.
And bang.
When the wicked increase, transgression increases. but the righteous will look upon their downfall.
You guys are done. Pop off the other side. Switch the feet.
Discipline
right
your
hand
son,
on the hip.
and he will give you rest.
Reach it up tall.
He will give delight to your
Same
heart.
form, identical form to the other side.
Where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint.
Make sure to
But
break
blessed is he
bend
who
those
keeps
knees,
the
you
law.
guys. It's really important. It never changes.
By mere words a servant is not disciplined, for though he understands, he will not respond.
Exercise like this.
Do you see a man who is hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Whoever pampers his servant from childhood will, in the end, find him his heir. A man of wrath stirs up strife, and one given to anger causes much transgression. One's pride will bring him low, but he who is lowly in spirit will obtain honor. The partner of a thief hates his own life. He hears the curse, but discloses nothing. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe.
Nice and tall. Guys ready to
Many
go?
seek the face of a ruler,
Right leg first.
but it is from the Lord that a man gets justice.
Step. Left
An
leg.
unjust man is an abomination to the righteous,
Let's turn.
but one whose way is straight is an abomination to the wicked.
Up. Back legs are nice and straight, you guys. Boom. Make sure that knee's over the ankle.
Chapter
Let's
30.
turn. Here we
The
go.
words of Agur, son of Jacob, the
Back
oracle.
leg straight. Let's see the form.
The man declares,
Good. Get that knee up.
I am weary, O God.
There you go. Turn
I
it
am
forward.
weary, O God, and
Let's see
worn
going
out.
back.
Surely I am too
Good. Back
stupid to
leg,
be a
see how big
man.
that leg is? It's perfect.
I have not the understanding of a man.
Good, good, good.
I have not learned wisdom, nor have I knowledge of the Holy One.
Come on.
Who has ascended to heaven and come down? Who has gathered the wind in his fists? Who has wrapped up the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth?
Posture's good. Your balance is
What
good.
is his name, and what is his son's name?
Nice, nice. You guys.
Surely you know.
Here we go. That's into round one. We're gonna stretch.
Every word of God
First
proves
stretch,
true.
the quads.
He is a shield to those who take refuge in
Grab
him.
an ankle.
Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and you be found a liar. Two things I ask of you. Deny them not to me before I die.
And switch sides.
Remove far from me falsehood and lying. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with the food that is needful for me, lest I be full and deny you and say, Who is the Lord?
Now go back to the right leg.
Or lest I be poor and steal and profane the name of my God.
Bend over.
Do not slander a servant to his master, lest he curse you and you be held guilty.
Wide. Here we go.
There are those who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers. There are those who are clean in their own eyes, but are not washed of their filth.
Yeah, switch sides. Here we go.
There are those. How lofty are their eyes, how high their eyelids lift.
Nice.
There are those whose teeth are swords, whose fangs are knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, the needy from among mankind. The leech has two daughters, give and give. Three things are never satisfied. Four never say enough. Sheol, the barren womb,
Stretch is
the
open.
land never satisfied with water,
Fly push-ups.
and the fire that never says enough.
Warrior, 6 inches.
The eye that mocks a father and scorns to obey a mother will be picked out by the ravens of the valley and eaten by the vultures.
Hold.
Three things are too wonderful for me. Four I do not understand.
Back.
The way of an eagle in the sky,
Nice.
the way of a serpent on a rock,
And heads are not down.
the way of a ship on the high seas,
And down.
and the way of a man with a virgin.
Down. Hold.
This is the way of an adulteress. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I have done no wrong. Under three things the earth trembles, under four it cannot bear up. A slave when he becomes king, and a fool when he is filled with food. An unloved woman when she gets a husband, and a maidservant when she displaces her mistress. Four things on earth are small, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they provide their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a people not mighty, yet they make their homes in the cliffs. The locusts have no king, yet all of them march in rank. The lizard you can take in your hands, yet it is in kings' palaces. Three things are stately in their tread, four are stately in their stride. The lion, which is mightiest among beasts, and does not turn back before any. The strutting rooster, the he-goat, and a king whose army is with him.
Top of the neck. We got a few more
If you have been
reps to go.
foolish, exalting yourself, or if you have been devising evil, put your hand on your mouth. For pressing milk produces curds, pressing the nose produces blood, and pressing anger produces strife.
Straight up and bring it down. Guys ready? Looks like this.
Chapter 31.
Back is straight.
The
Chest
words
is
of
up.
King Lemuel,
Place him right here at
an
the top of the
oracle that
curl,
his mother taught him.
and straighten him out.
What are you doing, my son?
Just like that.
What are you doing, son of my womb?
Remember, guys.
What are you doing, son of my vows?
1, 2. Don't overdo it.
Do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings.
So adjust your weight
It is
accordingly.
not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine or for rulers to take strong drink, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed and pervert the rights of all the afflicted.
Good.
Give strong drink to the one who is perishing and wine to those in bitter distress.
Bring your elbows back.
Let them drink and forget their poverty and remember their misery no more.
Okay, few left.
Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy.
Get your weights. Get them adjusted.
An excellent wife, who can
1
find?
foot in front of the other.
She is far more precious than jewels.
Open up
The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands.
All the way close.
She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar.
Good. Form nice.
She
straight.
rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her
Really
maidens.
toned up the biceps. It's a great
She
rep.
considers a field and buys it.
Guys.
With the fruit of her hands she plants a
15
vineyard.
reps. Every you can
She
do
dresses
it.
herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle.
Yes.
She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy.
Tricep. We're gonna give you a side
She is
curl
not
press.
afraid of snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple.
And kick 'em back and pause.
Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land.
Bam. Let's see.
She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchant.
Backs are straight.
Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come.
Stand straight.
She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness.
So lighten your weights.
Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her.
Here we go.
Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all.
Good.
Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates.
Squat combo. Right leg first, just like the lunges, but we do squats in between.
You are listening to the ESV Hear the Word Audio Bible, read by David Cochran Heath. Produced in 2008 by Crossway Bibles.
You want to make sure you come all the way
To
up.
learn more about the ESV Bible, please visit www.esv.org.
And two.
Ecclesiastes,
Right leg down.
chapter 1.
And 3. Here we go.
The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem.
No reason to rush through these, you guys.
Vanity of vanities, says the preacher.
Let's see.
Vanity of vanities. All is vanity.
And turn.
What does man gain by all the toil at which he toils under the sun?
Let's see those squats.
A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever.
One more.
The sun rises and the sun goes down and hastens to the place where it rises.
Come on back.
The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north.
Last time. Come on.
Around and around goes the wind, and on its circuits the wind returns. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full.
Hands up for balance.
To the place where the streams flow, there they flow again.
Good, you guys.
All things are full of weariness. A man cannot utter it.
Towel break.
The eye is not satisfied with seeing,
Now remember, you
nor the
guys,
ear filled with hearing.
starting out just level 1,
What
2.
has been
Take your
is what
time.
will be,
Check your
and
weights.
what has been done is what will be done.
Form's really good.
And there is
Use that
nothing
pause
new
button.
under the
If you
sun.
take breaks, that's okay.
Is there a thing of which it is said, see, this is new?
Here we go.
It has been already in the ages before us.
And we're going to do our quads first.
There is no remembrance of former things, nor will there be any remembrance of later things yet to be among those who come after. I, the preacher, have been king over Israel and Jerusalem, and I applied my heart to seek and to search out by wisdom all that is done under heaven. It is an unhappy business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with.
Side.
I have seen everything that is done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and a striving after wind.
Chest stretch. Here we go.
What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be counted.
Do it again.
I said in my heart,
And we
I have acquired great wisdom, surpassing all who were over Jerusalem before me, and my heart has had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I applied my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceived that this also is but a striving after wind. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow.
That's good form. Same thing. Head is straight. Stomach and back is nice and tight. Make sure to breathe.
Chapter 2.
Good, good, good. Now we're gonna
I
switch
said
up
in
to
my
the
heart,
close line.
come now, I will test you with pleasure. Enjoy yourself.
Just like that.
But behold, this also was vanity.
Down.
I said of laughter, it is mad, and of pleasure,
It's really, really important.
what use is it?
The elbow's gotta get really
I
tight.
searched with my heart how to cheer my body with wine, my heart still guiding me with wisdom, and how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the children of man to do under heaven during the few days of their life.
All right,
I
that's the
made
last
great
close one.
works.
Now open
I
that
built
into
houses and planted vineyards for myself. I made myself gardens and parks, and planted in them all kinds of fruit trees. I made myself pools from which to water the forest of growing trees. I bought male and female slaves, and had slaves who were born in my house. I had also great possessions of herds and flocks, more than any who had been before me in Jerusalem. I also gathered for myself silver and gold, and treasure of kings and provinces. I got singers, both men and women, and many concubines, the delight of the sons of man. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me, and whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I kept my heart from no pleasure, for my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was my reward for all my toil. Then I considered all that my hands had done and the toil I had expended in doing it, and behold, all was vanity and a striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun. So I turned to consider wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do who comes after the king? Only what has already been done. Then I saw that there is more gain in wisdom than in folly, as there is more gain in light than in darkness.
Right away.
The wise person has his eyes in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And yet I perceive that the same event happens to all of them.
Let's see, guys.
Then I said in my heart, what happens to the fool will happen to me also. Why then have I been so very wise? And I said in my heart that this also is vanity. For of the wise as of the fool there is no enduring remembrance, seeing that in the days to come all will have been long forgotten. How the wise dies just like the fool. So I hated life because what is done under the sun was grievous to me. For all is vanity and a striving after wind. I
All
hate
is
all the
vanity.
toil in which I toil under the sun, seeing that I must leave it to the man who will come after me, and who knows whether he will be wise or a fool. Yet he will be master of all for which I toiled and used my wisdom under the sun. This also is vanity. So I
All
turned
is
about
vanity.
and gave my heart up to despair over all the toil of my labors under the sun, because sometimes a person who has toiled with wisdom and knowledge and skill must leave everything to be enjoyed by someone who did not toil for it. This also is vanity and a great evil. What has a man from all the toil and striving of heart with which he toils beneath the sun? For all his days are full of sorrow, and his work is a vexation. Even in the night, his heart does not rest. This also is vanity. There is nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. This also, I saw, is from the hand of God, for apart from him, who can eat or who can have enjoyment? For to the one who pleases him, God has given wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he has given the business of gathering and collecting, only to give to one who pleases God. This also is vanity and a striving after wind.
Good. Everything's the same with the lower half. Notice, knees are always bent, back is always straight.
Chapter
chest
3.
is always up, eyes are forward. The great armed
For
forces
everything
leadership.
there is a
Low,
season,
Radio 7 high.
and a
Radio
time
7
for
high.
every matter under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted.
Make sure back is
A time to kill, and a time to heal.
Man, the resistance
A
band-
time to break down, and a time to build up.
Make the show and
A time to weep, and a time to laugh.
now you do the full Monty.
A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together.
Chest up. You see how
A
they're not
time
moving
to
around?
embrace,
This is
and a
really
time to
cool.
refrain from
Grab some
embracing.
chairs, 'cause in a few beats,
A time to
two
seek,
left.
and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away.
So we're going to dips.
A time to
We're gonna
tear,
press the back
and a
of the
time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak.
hands on either side.
A time to love, and a time to hate.
Scoot out
A
so you
time
can
for
feel your
war, and a time for peace.
back. Don't overdo it.
What gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I perceive that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man.
All right.
I perceive that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God has done it, so that people fear before him.
We're doing 8.
That which is already has been.
You guys
That
ready?
which is to be
Feel like you're
already
up there,
has been.
skis.
And God seeks what has been driven away.
Drop that foot down.
Moreover, I saw under the sun that in the place of justice, even there was wickedness, and in the place of righteousness, even there was wickedness.
Wickedness.
I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every matter and for every work.
Nice and tall.
I said in my heart with regard to the children of man that God is testing them, that they may see that they themselves are but beasts.
Big guys.
For what happens to the children of man and what happens to the beasts is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. They all have the same breath, and man has no advantage over the beasts, for all is vanity. All go to one place. All are from the dust, and to dust all return.
Looks really good.
Who knows whether the spirit of man goes upward and the spirit of the beast goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his work, for that is his lot.
Push out in the last
Who
one.
can bring him to see what will be after him?
And up. Push the knees out and up. Push the knees out and up.
Chapter 4.
Good.
Again I saw all the oppressions that are done under the sun,
Hands up.
and behold the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them.
You got 2 more.
On the side of their oppressors there was power,
Nice and deep.
and there was no one to comfort them.
All right, let's stretch.
And I thought the dead who are already dead more fortunate than the living who are still alive. But better than both is he who has not yet been, and has not seen the evil deeds that are done under the sun. Then I saw that all toil and all skill in work come from a man's envy of his neighbor. This also is vanity and a striving after wind.
Just like before.
The fool folds his hands and eats his own flesh. Better is a handful of quietness than 2 handsful of toil and a striving after wind. Again I saw vanity under the sun. One person who has no other, either son or brother, yet there is no end to all his toil, and his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he never asks, "For whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure?" This also is vanity and an unhappy business.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow. All right.
2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not